Peace and light, y'all. I just want to share this beautiful view that I'm observing. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Peace and light, y'all. So I said that I was gonna do a video on mental health, and I decided to do a video on mental health because the topic of mental health has been coming up a lot for me, my entire life, really. But recently, it's been coming forth in my family, friendships, even complete strangers have been coming up to me and talking to me about mental health, asking for advice and things like that. So I just wanted to share some information and some knowledge that I have on mental health from personal experience, and from like just researching and studying and talking to different people. Since I've been here in Bali, I've been talking to a lot of like master healers and gurus about mental health, really, right? And the mind in particular. And a lot of information that I have gotten has been a lot of confirmation for things that I knew, and a lot of new ways to say things that we've been hearing for generations and generations. So in this video, I'm going to share a little bit about my history with mental health. How mental health has affected my life personally, people around me, and just ways that we can heal ourselves from mental health issues and mental health trauma that may have affected us in our childhood, that may presently affect us, so on and so forth. So it is a huge something flying right here. Okay. so so something that I want to talk about that was like huge. So something that I want to talk about is I'll start with a little bit with my history with mental health. So growing up, I grew up with a mom who was clinically diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder. And when I say clinically diagnosed, I mean like checked into the mental hospital after a major suicide attempt, and she was officially diagnosed with severe bipolar disorder. And I mean, before even the diagnosis, growing up, we always knew that mom was like a little different. My family and her friends and everything would always say like, girl, your mama is crazy, or your mama a little off or whatever, but I don't think they realized how traumatic, crazy, and off was for the people around her. And it wasn't until maybe, I would have to say, probably like the suicide attempts, that people started really taking it seriously, and paying closer attention to her mental health, right? For people who aren't aware of like what bipolar disorder is or how it functions, the easiest way that I can break it down is essentially it's like two poles, right? It's a pole, right? And on one end of the pole, you have extreme mania, which mania can be like grandiosity, it can be like addiction, it can be several things. And then you have on the other pole is extreme depression. Now, according to research and a lot of doctors, normal people, and I hate that word normal, but that's how they term it, normal people function in between. And I mean, everyone has good days and bad days. People like kind of slide, but very rarely go to one extreme or the other. Individuals with bipolar disorder, I feel like that big thing is like around, but individuals with bipolar disorder usually go from one extreme to the other, and they have a hard time finding a balance between the two. Now, for my mom, what that looks like when she was in her mania side or her mania phase, we call them episodes. So when she was having an episode of mania, it would be usually like manifest as addiction, right? So my family struggles with addiction in general, but my mother has a very addictive personality, and she could get addicted to different things, from substances to at one point she got addicted to like gambling, like payday loans, and she got addicted to stuff like that. And then what her severe depression side looks like was extreme solitude. It looked like not eating for days at a time, not wanting to talk. And on both ends, it looked like anger. And when my mother was angry, she was angry. Like, we would call them blackouts. And she would tell you herself, like, she would black out. And it was very traumatic to experience growing up. The biggest part of the trauma was that you just never knew what to expect. You never knew who you were going to wake up with. You never knew who you were going to come home from school to. You just never knew what personality or what side of the scale she was going to be on. And it's not that either side of the scale was safe, but it definitely was like, I would much prefer if today or even this moment was a good moment. And we had a lot of good moments, and then we had a lot of not so good moments. And I love my mom and I appreciate her. And the biggest thing that I'm grateful for, wholeheartedly, genuinely, I'm grateful for, is that my mother allowed me to watch her break, right? She allowed me to watch her break, rebuild, break, rebuild, break, and rebuild again and again and again. And because of the woman that she was, I am able to be this woman. So I'm truly grateful to my mom for that. But dealing with her bipolar disorder, I watched my mother take medication, and I watched how the medication made her feel. She would always say it made her feel like a zombie. My mom would take her medication. She was on two different medications, Lexapro and Abilify. And then they also changed because, you know, when she would go through her depression side and she would have another suicide attempt, she would have to go back to the mental hospital. If you try to attempt suicide, it's automatically a 72-hour hold in the mental ward. So she would go back to the mental hospital. They would either change her medication or play with the dosage and the levels and everything and try to get her back to living a more stable life. But yeah, so when she would be on her medication, I would watch my mom like really like stare off into space. She would have little to no emotional affect. It was very like, it was hard to watch her, you know, be that person, because I knew that it wasn't her genuine personality. She was just very like there, you know. And then I also watched my mom, you know, when she would go off the medication, because there was a lot of times where she just would not take the medication because of how it made her feel. And I watched how that affected her as well. And neither option was a good option for the people around her. Now, I can't speak for how she felt when she was off the medication. She would say she felt good, but, you know, normally it would just go back to being on one side of the pole or the other. And like I said, yes, there were good times and yes, there were good moments. But once again, there was also a lot of very traumatic moments. And that was my history with mental health. That was my childhood of growing up with someone who struggled with a mental health issue. And just overall, experiencing my mother growing up, it always made me fear mental health. It always put a stigma on it for me. And in the Black community, we naturally have a stigma around mental health anyway. It's something that we don't really like to talk about. You know, everybody got the auntie or the uncle or the mama or the sister or the spouse who is touched, as some people would say, or who just ain't quite right, or who ain't all the way there. Everybody has that person in their family, but that's all we call it, is touched or crazy or not all the way there, something like that. But we don't call it what it is. You know, we don't say that auntie such and such has schizophrenia. We won't say that cousin such and such struggles with severe depression. These are just things that we just don't talk about in our community. And let alone, if we don't talk about it, we definitely don't try to get help for those individuals. And sometimes that individual is you. Right? Sometimes that individual is you, and you may be afraid to say that, look, I'm struggling because of how your family speaks about people with mental health issues, because of how you may yourself even view mental health issues. But my goal with this video is to let us know and to remind us that we are human beings, and it is okay to say when you are not okay. Because if you do not admit that you are okay, if you do not admit that there may be a problem, how could you possibly find a solution? For me personally, I had to admit that I wasn't okay. I went through a lot growing up, not just with my mother. Yes, a lot with my mother, but not just with her. I went through a lot in general growing up, things that I don't even speak on to this day. And a lot of that caused what I call PTSD, and what a lot of people would call PTSD. So for those who don't know what PTSD is, it's post-traumatic stress disorder. And the way PTSD manifested for me, it manifested as in just a lot of flashbacks. I would have a lot of flashbacks of traumatic moments in my life, and they would cause emotional outbursts of anger. Sometimes when I was alone, I would cry a lot. And I'm not a big crier, especially like in public, but there would be nights, and this started when I was very young. There would be nights where I would be just like in my bed by myself, and I would just cry. I remember when I was little, I would have nightmares, really, really bad, like really bad nightmares of things that certain people said to me, did to me, and I would just like, dream about it at night, and I would wake up and I would throw up. I would throw up in the middle of the night and then go back to bed like nothing happened. And it's just something that I never spoke on because I didn't want my family to think I was weird or crazy or touched. And as I got older, the nightmares got better, but other things popped up in regards to the PTSD. Like, I remember I would be walking down the street as an adult and I would feel like I hear my mother calling my name. Like, I would really feel like I could hear my mother screaming my name. And I was in a whole nother city, sometimes another state, sometimes another country, so I knew she wasn't anywhere around. But I would hear my mother screaming my name and I would get really scared, really scared. And I'm talking about like sweating, shaking, nervous, because I felt like I heard my mother scream my name, and that feeling that I used to get came back, So things like that came up. Me and dealing with anger, like I had a hard time dealing with anger. I remember in college, my friends had to sit me down and was like, girl, you gotta relax. Like, you are always ready. Like, you forever ready, because I was always ready. Like, I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. And I was just like, in college, I was hopping over counters because the guy in the smoothie line didn't make my smoothie fast enough. I'm pulling out blades, ready to cut people. Like, I was ratchet, I'm still a little ratchet, but I was really ratchet back then. But yeah, I just like really struggled with anger. And I remember I had to sit and admit to myself that I had a problem. I had to admit that something was going on, and I had to do the work to heal. So what did doing the work look like? First off, me admitting that I had a problem, it's not like I set everybody down and I like called the whole family and like called all my friends and said like, y'all, I think I got PTSD. It was me like stopping and saying, you know what, you need to do some research to see what's going on here. It was me stopping and saying, you know what, maybe you need to sit down and talk to somebody, whether if it's a friend, a family member, or a counselor, a therapist, and see if like maybe something else is going on other than just like, we had it rough growing up and it is what it is. You got to move on. Sometimes it ain't what it is. Sometimes it is what it is could be fixed, and it could be healed, and it can get better with time and with doing the work. So that is how I pretty much self-diagnosed myself. And granted, with this PTSD thing, it's not like my life was crippled, but I wasn't living my best life, as the saying goes. I wasn't living my best life. I wasn't the best me that I could be, or even the better me that I could be. I was just, it is what it is. I was just I was just doing me and being me. And that me at that time was unhealthy, not just for me, but the people around me. Doesn't that sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like my mom, who was clinically diagnosed with a mental health issue, and she was not healthy, not just for her, but the people around her. So I knew that I didn't want to have a negative effect on myself, on society, on the people who love me. I knew that I want to be better. I needed to be better. I needed it in order to do well in life. So I began to do the work to heal the trauma that was causing the PTSD. Now, what did the work look like? So the work, and I'm still doing work. So I don't want people to think that this is just like a quick fix remedy. The work, and the reason it's called the work, is because you have to sit with you. I had to sit with me, and I had to say, this is what's going on, and dig into the why. So I asked myself, what's going on? When is it going on? Where is it going on? How does it look when it's happening? And why do I think this is happening? I had to dig into the roots of my actions, of my thoughts. I had to dig into the root of my decision making. I had to dig into the roots. And when I began to do the work and answer those questions that helped me get to the root, then I had to help heal some of those roots. So I'll give an example, right? Thinking. What I find a lot, and I'm finding a lot of people recently coming to me about their mind, the mind, and like a lot of thoughts running through their mind, or some negative thoughts running through their mind. One sister came to me and she was saying she's been feeling very indecisive. She was saying that she feels like, you know, she needs to make a decision, and she knows what she should do, but then she has a lot of doubt, and she's just feeling like she just can't decide what to do. She can't decide. So a lot of indecisiveness. And these are all things that I've personally dealt with when I was going through my PTSD. Things that I always dealt with growing up. I was always indecisive as a younger adult, because I'm still a young adult, but as a younger adult, I was very indecisive. And dealing with the mind is a difficult thing, but it's something that we all must do. So to deal with the mind, I will say this. My grandmother used to always say, follow your first mind. Your first mind is your spirit. Your spirit. We must align our mind with our spirit first, and then the body follows. The spirit must guide the mind, and the mind guides the body. That is holistic health. When you have a healthy spirit, you have a healthy mind. When you have a healthy mind, you have a healthy body. Your decision making is healthier. Your actions are healthier. Your words are healthier. Your movement is healthier, right? The mind follows the spirit. So doing the work and healing the mind started with healing the spirit. How did I begin to heal my spirit? I had to start by asking myself, what do you believe? What do you believe? What do you truly believe? What do you know for sure? Aside, let me not use the word believe, because even in belief, there is doubt. In the middle of the word believe, L-I-E, lie, there's a bit of doubt in belief. What do you know for sure about this universe, about this world, about how things function, about nature, about God, about your damn self? What do you know for sure? That was the very first spiritual question that I had to answer. Then I had to answer question number two. Question number two, what are you going to do with what you know? How does what you know guide your life? Are you truly living by your own principles, your own morals and values? And if you don't know what your principles and your morals and values are, figure it out. Ask yourself, what do you think is the right thing to do? What do you think is the wrong thing to do? Ask yourself that, and then question, are you really living by your true right and wrong? Are you really doing the right thing for what you think is right? For what you believe, what you know for sure is right? Ask yourself that. That's a spiritual question, right? Build a better relationship with whomever, or whatever you call God. And how you do that is you have to build a better relationship with yourself first. Find the beauty in you. What is something about yourself that you love? It could be the smallest thing. It could be your eyelashes. It could be the way your nails grow. It could be something physical. I would prefer for it to be something internal. What is something about your internal self that you love? Is it your kindness? Is it the fact that you can look at someone and recognize the beauty in someone else? That's a rare trait to have. Some people have a hard time looking at someone or something and seeing the beauty in it. Can you do that? Is that the thing that you love about yourself? Find that internal thing that you love about you and hold on to that. That's the God in you. Those internal things, that heartbeat, that breath, the way you move, the way you speak, that is the God in you. Find the thing in you that you love, that piece of God in you that you love, and hold on to that. Praise that. That is how you start building a better relationship with God, by loving yourself. Because guess what? You are God. God dwells within you. Here in Bali, they have a saying, it's the 3 ways of harmony. It's the relationship from human to God, human to human, and then human to nature. 3 ways of harmony: human to God, human to human, and human to nature. My question for you is, what is your relationship with God? And when I say God, once again, I'm not just talking about that thing in the sky or that thing in the universe or whatever you like to call it, Allah, Buddha, God, Jesus, whomever you praise. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking about that thing that dwells within you. What is your relationship with that? And then how do you carry that relationship with other people? Not just in your family, not just friends, but strangers. How do you carry that relationship human to human? And then how do you carry that relationship with nature, with animals, with grass, with trees, with the sun, the moon, the stars? When is the last time you danced for a full moon? When is the last time you twirled in the rain? When is the last time you allow a snowflake to drop on your tongue? When is the last time that you were truly grateful for a day that the sun shined? Human to nature. The relationship you have with the God in you is reflected in the relationship you have with other people, the relationship you have with this world, this beautiful earth that we live in. It's all reflected. The three ways of harmony, right? So all of that is a part of healing. Try to figure out, what do you know for sure? How do you apply what you know for sure in your life? That's how you build up your spiritual relationship. Build up your relationship with other people, with other humans. Smile at strangers. Smile at them genuinely. Find the beauty in things around you. Nature. Find the beauty in it. Look at the sun and give it gratitude. Give it praise for rising. For warming the earth, even on a cold day, because it would be colder if that sun didn't rise. Give thanks. That is all healing. That's all healing. And all of that involves living a life of gratitude. Give thanks. Call people who love you. Call people who support you in the smallest ways and name the way they support you. That is all healing. That's all healing. And you will start to see that those childhood traumas, those things that may be causing PTSD, that may be causing frantic thoughts, those things will slowly but surely start to relax. Start to relax. And it's not an easy journey. Trust me, it's not an easy journey. It's not. But when you build that better spiritual relationship, because human to God, human to human, and human to nature is all spiritual relationships. When you build that better spiritual relationship, your mind will slowly but surely start to ease. Some of those worries will slowly but surely start to dissipate. Because how could you worry about this when we are living in this? How could you stress when those birds are making beautiful sounds in your background? How? And that's just only step one, a better spiritual relationship. Then you can start to ask your spirit, what should I do? Not the mind, but the spirit. How do you listen to your spirit? That's often a question that I get. How do you know when it's your spirit speaking versus your mind? You will know it's your spirit speaking the moment that it makes you smile. The moment it makes you smile. If you are struggling with making a decision, when you ask your spirit that answer that makes you just go, that's the one. That answer that fills your heart, that fills your body, your being with genuine joy, that is the answer. That's the answer. So if you are ever contemplating a question and you feel like you can't decide what to do, the answer that makes you smile without hurting or harming anyone, let's be clear, because don't be smiling about keying his car, busting his windows out and all that stuff. Not the one that involves hurting or harming anyone. No. The answer that makes you smile and is beneficial to this universe. Let me add that, okay? Because I know some folks. So the answer that makes you smile and is beneficial to this universe, that is your spirit speaking to you. Follow that answer, no matter what. Even in the midst of all the doubts, even in the midst of all of this could go wrong, that could go wrong, and this could happen, and that could happen. If it happens, so what? Figure it out. That'll be a new problem and another solution. For every problem, there is a solution. Keep that in mind. For every problem, there is a solution. And I'm sorry if this video sounds like I'm like skipping and scattering along, but I'm just giving you I'm trying to give everything that I know for sure works. Everything I know for sure works, right? So for every problem, there's a solution. Every problem. So don't stress when you have a problem. Face the problem. Run into the problem. It's so crazy because I was sitting with a master healer, and he was saying that he was like, a lot of people run from problems. They run, and he was like, some people come to Bali because they're having a lot of problems at home and they just run. He was like, when you go home, the problem is still going to be here. Matter of fact, when you come to Bali, the problem will still be here. The question is, what is the solution? So even if there's a problem that comes up, don't focus on the why the problem is here. That's something I noticed, and that's why I said I'm very grateful to my mother for allowing me to watch her break, because that is something that I would notice when she would go into her depressions and she would, go into her suicide attempts. Often it was because she was dwelling on the why a problem came. Why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? It was a lot of why, as opposed to saying, like, look, there's a problem, how can we fix it? How is it going to be fixed? And not all of the solutions that ain't possible for you to do. What are possible solutions right now? List them out and then start doing them. Start fixing. And that's it. That's it. So let me retrack, right? Not retrack, but backtrack. Follow your spirit. Align your spirit with your mind. Align your mind with your spirit. Make sure your spirit is well by following the 3 ways of harmony. Build that relationship with God. Make sure you build a better relationship with other people. Build a better relationship with nature. Follow your spirit. And also that can be enhanced by meditation, but I'll do a whole separate video on meditation because I feel like that would be a lot right now. That can also be enhanced by meditation. But once you get your spirit intact, once you start living a life of gratitude, start listing off things that you're grateful for at the end of the night, every night before you close your eyes and go to bed, list at least 3 things that you are genuinely grateful for that day. It could be breath, breathing, it could be waking up, it could be something good that you ate that day or good that you drank that day, it could be a great conversation that you had, it can be the fact that a bill got paid. Hey, it could be the fact that a bill got paid. It could be the fact that you slept good the night before. It could be anything. List at least 3 things you are grateful for every night before you go to sleep. 3 things you are grateful for. Start living a life of gratitude. When you're walking down the street or driving down the street, find the beauty in something. That's a life of gratitude. When you're eating something, I don't care what it is, stop and truly taste it. Feel the texture of it in your mouth. When you're drinking something, really drink that thing. Taste that thing. Taste it. Feel it. Know for sure that it is something that is bringing you pleasure in that moment, and be grateful for that pleasure that you're getting in that moment. When you wake up next to the person that you love, be thankful for them. Be thankful for that love. When you get a phone call, be grateful that somebody thought about your ass today. Okay? When you get a text message, be grateful that somebody thought about your ass today. Okay? And even if you don't, be grateful that everybody around you as well, because they could be calling you to give you some bad news. No news is good news. That's what they used to say. No news is good news. Right? So just be grateful for every single thing. Live a life of gratitude. That helps with the spirit, right? So with dealing with the mind, so have a good spirit. Make sure you build that spiritual relationship and then align your mind with it. Allow your mind to follow your spirit, right? Trust me, it gets easier and easier and easier. Honestly, what I would have to say, if you are having a lot of negative thoughts, if there are a lot of negative thoughts that keep coming to your mind, deal with them. Deal with them. Don't run from them. Don't try to quiet your mind. That's another thing that I'm finding a lot of people are coming to me for. How can I quiet my mind? How can I make my mind stop talking to me? I want my mind to just stop. How can I quiet my mind? You got to deal with what's on your mind first. That's it. That's the solution to that problem. You got to deal with what's on your mind first. It ain't going to just magically dissipate. You got to deal with it. That's doing the work. And the work ain't easy. This is when the trauma may come up. Right? Those negative thoughts that are on your mind, sometimes they ain't all negative, but those thoughts that are on your mind, write them down. Write them down. In the midst of a moment of extreme anxiety or a lot of thoughts flooding your mind, just write every thought down. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. Write it down. And then go back and ask yourself, what was I thinking? Where was I thinking it? When was I thinking it? How does this thought make me feel? Why am I thinking about this so much? Why? Dig into it. Dig into it. You have to deal with those thoughts one by one by one. If you need to cry it out, cry it out. If you need to scream it out, scream it out. But one by one, deal with those thoughts. Every thought is a page. This is how I say, every thought is like a page in a book. You read the page, flip the page. Read, flip the page. Read, flip the page. That's how you have to deal with your thoughts. When you come to a thought, analyze the thought. Analyze the thought and then flip to a next thought. Because guess what? If you skip a page in the book, you may not understand what's going on the next page. And if you skip that page, you may not understand what's going on in the chapter. So guess what? You gotta honor each and every thought because it has come for a reason. Honor your thoughts. Be grateful for them, no matter how they may make you feel or how negative they may be. Honor them because they have come to tell you something. They have come to bring you a message. Honor them. That is how you begin to clear your mind. Write each thought down and deal with it like a page in a book. Read it. What am I thinking? Where was I when I was thinking this? When was I thinking about it? How did it make me feel? Why am I thinking about this? Analyze it and then begin to work on those thoughts. Begin to work on those thoughts and do that for each and every one. Now, do you want to dwell on a single thought for too long? Possibly not. Possibly not. But sometimes you do need to dwell. Sometimes you do need to sit with something. It may be a traumatic experience that keeps popping up in your mind throughout the day. I had to deal with that. That was a part of the PTSD. I may have a traumatic experience that may keep popping up in my mind. Hearing my mother call my name. I have to deal with that. What is she call? Why do I hear my mother calling my name? How does that make me feel? When do I hear it? Where am I when I'm hearing it? I had to deal with that. I had to do that work. And the biggest part, the thought that derived from dealing with the thought, because sometimes that happens. Sometimes when you're dealing with the thought, it creates a new thought because now you're starting to dig and you're starting to get to the root of that issue. Really, when you start dealing with the root usually comes in with the how does it make me feel? How does it make me feel? That's usually where the root comes in. Fearful. When I hear my mother screaming my name, it makes me feel fearful. Why am I feeling fearful? That's where the work comes in. That's where the trauma comes in. What is the root of that fear when I hear her calling my name? That's where it comes up. Now, when you start dealing with those thoughts and then those traumatic moments start coming up, that's when it's more work has to be done because now you have to deal with the effect of that traumatic moment. So it's always work. And as I said in the beginning of the video, you're going to be constantly doing the work because guess what? Doing the work means that you're growing. And we are forever growing. There's always going to be work to be done. We're forever growing. If you stop growing, you're dead. Period. If you stop growing, you are dead. So when you do the work, you are growing. So be grateful that there is work to be done. Be grateful for it. And there's always going to be healing to be done. Be grateful for it because that means that you are truly living. And once again, I said be grateful for it because that's living a life of gratitude. You are now truly not just living, but enjoying life, right? The work ain't always easy. It's not always easy. So, once again, going back, when those traumatic moments come up, that's more work that has to be done. You have to start to try to heal from those traumatic moments. Now, I was talking to a master healer, and I also talked to a guru who told me two things. Do not complain about things that happened in the past. Do not complain about them because they've already happened. You cannot change them. There's nothing you can do about it. What you can do is acknowledge that they happened. You can allow the thought to cross your mind and then breathe it out. Breathe it out. Breathe it out. Breathe it out. Breathe out that past memory. Breathe out that negative energy that comes with that thought. Breathe it out and then immediately find something you're grateful for. Immediately. In the here and now, in the present, find something you're grateful for. It could be related to that past memory. It could be related to that trauma. It could not be related, but find something that you're grateful for. So when that traumatic moment comes up, when you have that thought about something traumatic that happened in your life, think about it. Don't dwell on it, but think about it. Breathe in and release it, allowing it to pass. And then find something you're grateful for. Yes, that happened, but it made me stronger. Yes, that happened, but it made me more aware. Yes, that happened, but this grass is beautiful. Yes, that happened, but I'm here. I'm here. Yes, it happened, but I survived. I thrived. I'm good. So I feel like I already gave y'all a lot. So I'm going to stop right here. But I'm going to just backtrack real quick. Align the spirit with the mind. Make sure your spirit, I said the spirit with the mind with the spirit. Align the mind with the spirit. Make sure your spirit is well by practicing the 3 ways of harmony. So make sure your spirit is well by building your relationship with God, with other humans, and with nature. The 3 ways of harmony. Make sure your spirit is well. Then allow your mind to follow your spirit. Go through those thoughts like a page in a book, Analyze each and every thought. In a moment of anxiety, in a moment where you're feeling anxious, in a moment that you're feeling sad, down, analyze those thoughts. What am I thinking about? Where was I when I started thinking about it? Or where was I when this thought occurred? When? How do I feel? Why am I thinking about this? Or why does that thought make me feel this way? Ask yourself those questions, analyze those thoughts, and then turn the page and move on to the next thought, okay? That's things that you need to do. That is the work. When those traumatic moments come up, allow yourself to think about it. It's okay. It's your experiences. You have the right to think about it. You have the right. They're your experiences. Think about it, breathe in, and breathe it out. Breathe it out and release it. And you're allowed to do that. And then immediately find something you're grateful for. Okay? Okay? So that is some of the work. That's some of the work. And I'll record another video. This one is almost 40 minutes. So I'm going to chill for right now. But just sit on that. Also, write it down. You need to get those thoughts out all the time, not sometimes, all the time. You need to get those thoughts out. So a good way to do it is write it down or record videos. Even if you post them or not post them, even if they just to yourself. For some people, writing it ain't their thing. Journal somehow, and you can journal by recording videos. I do that too. I'm a writer, but I also just record videos like this one to journal and get my thoughts out, right? So do that. If you have a good friend or a good family member or someone who loves you, call them and talk to them about it, right? These are things that you can do, right? Just get those thoughts out. Vent. That's venting. Get them out, right? Okay? And love yourself. Don't forget to find something in yourself, inside of yourself, that you love. Like I said, whether if it's the way you treat people, whether if it's the fact that you can recognize the beauty in something, whether if it's the fact that you're generous, no matter how people take it or receive it, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Find something in you that you love. Find something about yourself physically that you love. Find something, okay, you guys? Because you are worthy. You are. We all are. We are worthy to live our best life. What Duval said, I'm living my best life. For real. We're worthy of that experience, okay? So I love y'all. I'm going to record another video. I am going to do a video of meditation too. Not today, because this is enough. But I'll do a video on meditation too, okay? I love y'all. And then as I get more information, I'm constantly seeking and studying and learning. So I'm talking to healers and gurus and just random strangers and people, and I'm like studying nature, and I'm listening to the omens and the signs, and I'm doing my work and my research too, because I want to be able to give as much information to others, do the work myself. I just want to be able to share and just be a light in this world, in this universe, okay? So I love y'all, and trust me, trust me, trust me, you are worthy of the work, and the work is always good work. It's not going to be easy work all the time, but it's worthy work and it's good work, and you are worth it, okay? Peace and light, y'all. I love you.